What we're going to take a look at now is the Epic Games launcher, and I'm going to show you a few places where you can find assets to then populate your scene with. And some of this needs to happen probably in conjunction with the grade boxing process, so you can get a sense for what kind of assets you're going to be looking for. But there are a few key tabs to be keeping note of here. So the UE4 tab in the front is a nice place to just see news and different information about the engine itself. But the Learn tab is a really excellent resource. It has a number of pre-made projects with specific topics that come preloaded with geometry and meshes and materials. So a couple of them that I highly recommend are the Subway Sequencer, the Infiltrator Demo, and the ArchViz Interior, and the Content Examples. They all do different things, and these two are probably rather large. I don't know exactly the size of them, but they'll be a few gigabytes each. The Subway Sequencer, if we just take a look at this, I'll click on it. It contains a project which has a full subway scene built out, and it's pretty much what you see is what you get. It actually has a full movie, like a short movie made in it. And so if you're interested in doing that kind of process, this will help you get behind the curtain of that. But separate from that entirely is actually just this really nice set of assets and materials that are preloaded in this pack. And that's definitely going to be the case for a lot of these. They all have some really nice content in them. And these are totally free. So, if you're into this stuff, maybe take a look at a few of them. You don't need a ton of assets to get started. It's just all of them are an interesting place to begin. So that's the Learn tab. The next tab is the Marketplace. And this is where you can get kind of lost, I would say. Definitely the part to take a note on is the free for the month. Free for the month. You want to add all of these to your cart and, quote unquote, buy them. They're free. You still just have to check out from the cart with them, but definitely pick these up. They all have some really interesting bits contained in them. But beyond that, I would also encourage you to take a look at the free tab. Over the years, they've added quite a bit of awesome free content. So the nicest one to start with is actually the permanently free collection. A few of these asset packs are just insanely high quality, particularly the Factory Environment Collection and the Royal Australia pack. These are super duper nice, and if we just click on them, take a look, they come preloaded with tons of meshes, assets, digital models, all free, and these materials are also just excellently made. You could even use this as an interesting base point for a scene. This kind of train is included, all those great parts. Some nice robot arms. So maybe take a look at some of these. They'll even tell you probably how large these files are. Yeah, so this project is 10 gigabytes, right? So that's the trade-off. It's super duper nice quality, very, very good setup, but it is large. So just keep that in mind. And that's in the permanently free collection. There, again, are several of these kinds of projects set up. They even have foliage packs, some procedural building generators. A few of these will require a little bit of know-how and some light programming, but in general, these kind of asset packs are just ready to go right out of the box. So take a look at those. Another really interesting tab here is the Epic Games tab, which has a few other free projects. Some of these are actually kind of overlap between the permanently free collection and the Learn tab. But notably, if you've ever played the video game What Remains of Edith Finch, they have all of the environments actually available here for free. The developers used Unreal Engine to make it, and they partnered with Epic to make basically the entire game behind the curtain available here. And so you can just take a look at any of these. You'll see all the assets that they have included, and even an example of what their scenes look like afterwards. So those are pretty interesting. And they have a bunch of characters from they made a game called Paragon a while back. Epic Games also made the Gears of War series, but they have just a few environments from different games and places that are free to download. I would say, though, be careful with some of these Epic Games packs because They may look nice, but they're actually kind of gross or outdated. These are a little bit old now, and if you look at the materials, they look a little bit grungy, not as good as they could. And they're very heavy. So these kind of files end up being much larger than they're worth sometimes. That said, the permanently free collection, those are extremely high quality and are definitely worth it. So again, check out the free for the month. There's this pretty nice fantasy cave environment, which gives you some fun meshes to play with. And once you have picked up these packs, right, so you just add them to your cart, you go and you check out. Again, it won't charge you anything because they're totally free. But once you have them, you can just add to project. And, I'm like looking at these kind of stone assets. These look pretty nice. I'm actually just going to add this to our demo. And so I just click add to project, and I see here's the DTS demo I made. I'm just going to click add to project. And so it's going to download this and then load it directly in for me. So this pack, you can see, is 1.1 gigabytes. So you may have to be a little bit careful with, size concerns. But as a base point, this gives you so much to work with. So think about finding one of these packs probably, because as part of your exercise, you're going to be required to have 3 mega scans and 1 mesh downloaded from another source, and then, just filling out the rest of it with stuff from the marketplace. So I encourage you to at least get 1 marketplace pack. It'll make your scene building much more enjoyable. So I've added that to the project, but I'm going to keep browsing for a moment. So, of course, this is a marketplace, so you can purchase things as well. You definitely do not need to purchase anything for this project. If you're going to look, though, kind of window shop, the environments tab is a really nice one to check out. You can see what kind of environments you could purchase. These are kind of pricey, you may think, but this is so much work condensed into this one scene, right? Like, all of these assets were modeled, textured, texture mapped, and then they composed it into a nice scene. So just to keep that in mind, if you're ever into game dev, this is a way I suppose you could hack together a game very quickly. But you can just see some examples of how people have used Unreal, and I don't know, just kind of window shop. Definitely do not need to buy anything for this assignment, though. You'll notice that there have several different types of tabs you could buy. You could go purely for materials, and if you just want materials, you could go to the free materials, and you'll find several packs purely on that. So again, take some time, do a little bit of quote-unquote shopping, as it were, even though it's free. Right? Don't spend any money, but shop around. And apparently they have an October sale going on as well. Once you have asset packs, you notice I've accumulated quite a few, because every month, they have a bunch of free ones that come out, and I have a bunch of the free engine content as well. I've purchased a few things, but I'm a very slow purchaser. I look at things for a long time before I buy them, and I would encourage you to do the same. Just because something looks flashy doesn't mean it's worth it. But a few of these packs, like I purchased, like this glowing mushrooms was like $3, so like 90 or 100 baht, and it is pretty nice. So I think that was definitely worth it. But overall, like, you don't need to purchase anything, and just know that this library, these are not all stored on my computer. These are just associated with my account, so I have access to them forever now. So at the very least, I would encourage you to get on once a month and like grab the free digital assets. It is important to mention that not all of the projects will be able to be directly just added to a project. So in this case, this is the factory environment collection, and instead of add to project, it has a button here to create project. And so to get these assets, what you'll actually need to do is to go ahead and create this project, which will populate an entire Unreal project with all of the meshes and assets, etc. And then what you'll do, pretending this is it, you just go to the folders containing those assets that you want to move, and you could just right-click on the folder, and you say Migrate. This will open up an asset report. This is where you select all of the contained assets that you want to migrate. And so you can see it's migrating the maps folder, the materials folder, and the meshes folder, and the particles and textures, etc. So it's going to migrate all of the stuff contained within this folder. So you click OK. And then what you have to do is you have to locate the project you want to migrate to, which in this case is the DTS demo. And you want to select the content folder of that project you are migrating to. That's extremely important. It has to go into the content folder of that Unreal project. And then you just select the folder. And then, see, this is going to activate. I'm migrating it to the exact same project it's in. So I'm actually just going to cancel that. But it will migrate all of the assets from one project to another. So in the cases of projects that force you to create a project, that's how you will have to move the assets to the new one. The alternative, of course, is just create one of these projects and then use this base project to then work inside of, and which is another totally valid option. So consider either one of those paths forward. And it just really depends on the pack you're looking at, and you'll notice a few of these will say add to project while others will say create project. And so it just depends on the asset pack and how it was created.